everyone, and welcome to your Slack Workshop 101. This session will get started in just a minute. So while you wait, please go ahead and follow these steps on your screen here to go ahead and open up Slack on your computer, and we are going to get started in just a few. So quick note, you can open up Slack in two different ways. So your first option is opening Slack up in your browser and going to slack.com/sign in and follow those login instructions. Or option number two is you can open up the Slack app if you've already installed it on your computer. And super easy breezy to do that. To open up the Slack app, you just search for the app on your computer, click on that Slack icon to open up the app. And if you haven't installed the Slack desktop app yet, you can download it at any time at slack.com/downloads. However, rest assured, installing the app is not going to be a requirement for the training today. So if you don't have it yet, don't stress about it, and you can install it later on and just join us today directly via browser. So Christina, I think we'll go ahead and give people another minute to trickle in. You and I know all of the exciting things we have in store for today. What are you most excited about?
Oof. Okay, well, I am most excited to see how excited you get about your favorite feature that we're going to be walking through, but also just I can't wait for people to just get inspired and excited about a new way to use Slack. I wish I could see all of your faces and the excitement, but I'm sure we'll be able to feel it through the screen here. What about you, Lauren?
Amazing. Well, you already know. I could wax on and on about my undying love for threads. Y'all are going to become thread pros by the end of today's session. So I'm so excited to introduce everyone to its beauty. All right. Well, we just hit the 2-minute mark, so I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like everyone's ready. Let's go ahead and get this show on the road. So hello, everyone, and an official welcome to your Slack Workshop 101. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are so thrilled that you're here. My name is Lauren Brock, and my pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm a customer success manager over here at Slack, and I oversee some of our large enterprise customers in the comms, media, and technologies industries. And I am joined today by the ever fabulous Christina. Christina, whichever side you're on, go ahead and say hello.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christina Meng. I am a digital success programs manager here at Slack. My pronouns are also she, her, hers. I have the wonderful job of managing the Slack Global Champion Network, and I get to teach our awesome champions how to get the most out of Slack, and I cannot wait to do the same for you all today.
Amazing. I'm hoping maybe we create a few new Slack champions from today's session, right? Trust. So we have a super exciting agenda for you today. During this 60-minute training session, we are going to teach you the Slack basics so you can start working effectively in Slack starting today. So we also have some rock stars with us here today who are standing by to answer your questions live. So feel free to submit your questions in the little Q&A box. You should see that at the bottom of the webinar screen. And our team will do their best to assist you and answer as many questions as they can. And just a quick note, for the sake of time, we won't be able to answer any of your questions live orally, and we will instead post those answers in writing using that Q&A box. So if you don't see the Q&A option within the webinar interface for some reason, you can always submit questions anytime to slack.com/help, and our customer support team will get back to you by email. And we have also prepared a PDF handout for you to download at the end of today's presentation with all of the important information for you to keep in mind. So don't stress too much about trying to take furious notes today. We gotcha. All right, a few housekeeping items before we dive in. So during this training, you will be asked to participate in live activities in Slack, so you can try it out for yourself. So you will be completing these activities inside of your own company Slack workspace. So for the most ideal experience, we recommend that you join from your computer and have the webinar screen and your Slack open up side by side. So go ahead and check out the instructions here on screen for how to do this. And as a reminder, if you have already installed the Slack app on your computer, go ahead and look for that Slack app icon, click to open it. And a friendly reminder, if you haven't downloaded the app yet, no problem at all. You can always join from your browser. And you do that by simply opening up a new browser tab, navigate to slack.com/sign-in, and follow those login instructions.
All right, a few things to call out. Your participation in this training is anonymous. Other participants can't see you, and no information about your participation will be communicated to your company. All of the activities we'll do together during this training will be only visible to you in your own Slack workspace, unless you decide to share it with others in your company, maybe for some bragging rights or to get other people to join a future session of this. That would be great. But really, this is your chance to experiment with Slack features freely, and please ask us any questions you'd like.
Amazing. Thank you, Christina. Some pro tips there, folks. So if any of you are having trouble opening up Slack, or if you have any other technical issues, go ahead and let our folks know inside of that Q&A box, and they will jump in to assist you. One final housekeeping item. If any of the screens freeze, or for some reason we disappear and you can't see us, go ahead and click to refresh your browser window, and that should hopefully take care of it for you. All right, y'all, are we in? Are we ready? Drum roll, let's get cruising. So let's start at the beginning. What is Slack? So it is our mission to make people's working lives simpler, more pleasant, and ultimately more productive. And who doesn't want that, right? So Slack is a new way of working, and it's not just another chat or messaging tool. We are your AI productivity platform that brings together automation, knowledge, and collaboration together. So Slack is driving productivity in a whole new way so that companies can go faster. And Slack is bringing those new ways of working to your teams so that they can accelerate work with AI and automation that's easy enough for anyone to use, even someone like me. Share and search data and knowledge from any source right in the flow of your work. You can also connect and engage everyone with flexible tools that keep work moving between teams, partners, and your customers. So during this session, we will show you concretely what this means and how your team can work more productively in Slack starting today. So we won't be able to cover all of these features you see here on this slide, but we will start with the basics. So after you feel comfortable with the Slack fundamentals, we invite you to progressively learn some more advanced skills. All right, so before we jump in, you might be asking yourself, Lauren, how much more productive can my team really be with Slack? So to give you an idea, here are some stats. So Slack customers report that their teams are 49% more productive. And Slack can improve your team's performance no matter what your line of business is. It allows sales teams to close more deals, service teams to resolve issues faster, marketing teams to optimize their campaigns, IT teams to increase ROI, and so much more. And you can make this happen at your company too. So stay with us, and we will show you how you can unlock your team's productivity with Slack today. All right, hopefully we are all feeling energized. Let's start with a quick overview of the user interface. So if you use Slack on your computer, it is composed of 3 different parts. And you may or may not see that third part in green quite yet on the right-hand side. This is what we call the flex pane. And this is only opens when certain elements are clicked, like a specific person's profile or maybe a thread. And you can easily collapse a section by simply exiting out via that X button you see on the upper right-hand corner. So on the far left-hand side, you see the home view. And this is where all of your conversations are listed. And when you click on the home view, that sidebar over there opens up. And this is where you can find the workspace menu. And that's where new teammates can be invited to Slack, or you can customize your Slack theme colors, which is always fun to do, and so much more. So depending on how your company is actually set up with Slack, you may or may not have access to more than one workspace. Don't worry about it too much. A workspace is where people are simply collaborating and getting work done faster. And these are really specific to maybe a team or a company. And generally, channels can be shared across more than one workspace. So this is also where you can find your direct messages and all of your channels, which can be grouped into what we call sections. So channels are where collaboration happens, and we will come back to that concept later. So on the far left-hand side, there are also shortcuts to your DMs, activities, and messages that are saved for later, which we will explain how you can use these later. And you also have that user menu that you see here on the bottom left-hand corner. And this is where you can edit your profile, upload your photo, customize your notifications. And when you click on a specific channel, you can see that channel's associated conversation appear in that middle section there. And if you want to contribute to the channel, all you have to do is use that message box down at the bottom, right up, and click to send your message. And up at the top, you can find our search bar feature. So this is where you can look for information that's available to you in your Slack instance. And digging a little deeper here, within each conversation and DM, you can start a call thanks to our Huddle feature. And it's what you see there with a little headphone symbol on the top right-hand side. Finally, on that right-hand side, you can find the inspector, and this is where additional information can be found inside that flex pane, like channel details or the threads. And in fact, as you all already found out, threads are one of my favorite features here at Slack. So they help create organized discussions around a topic, and we will show you later on how that works. And just a quick note, it is possible that your interface doesn't look exactly like this, and that's because each organization can customize how their Slack is set up. Okay, so the first skill we are going to learn is how to find and start conversations. So in Slack, conversations happen in two different places. So channels are for focused topics of conversation, like for a specific project or team. And direct messages are for those one-off conversations. Like if I wanted to let Christina know that I'm running a few minutes late to a meeting. And 80% of communication usually happens in channels and 20% in DMs. And the reason is that channels accelerate your productivity. So it's your single place to go for every topic. It keeps your information, conversations, and files organized. You can share and receive updates on projects all without having to ask your colleagues. And you can also choose the channels that you want to follow rather than sorting through a cluttered email inbox. You can also add new members and they can see all the previous messages to get up to speed quickly. So ultimately, channels encourage open communication and can even be a place to connect socially with your colleagues. And there are three different types of channels. We have public channels, private channels, and shared channels. So public channels are denoted by that hashtag symbol, and these are for discussing work, projects, social interests, basically information that can be valuable to other people. And public channels are visible to anyone in your workspace to join and available for anyone to join. And private channels, on the other hand, are denoted by that lock icon. So these are for discussing confidential projects or sensitive information like budget, hiring, or maybe legal. And private channels can only be joined if someone in the channel actually invites you. So let's say Christina has a private channel and I'm not in it yet. That means I can't search for it. I can't preview the channel. I can't even see the name. But once she invites me, I'll be able to see the historical content of that channel and join in on the conversation moving forward. And the last type is shared channels. And we also call these Slack Connect channels. So these can be set to either public or private, and they're for working in Slack with people outside of your company, like customers, agencies, and vendors. So taking a step back, when you are starting a new channel, if you aren't sure which type of channel to choose, simply take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, would this information be valuable to a colleague, or is it something that should be referenced later? If your answer is yes, then a public channel is recommended. So now I'm going to turn it over to Christina to take you through your first activity.
I I can't wait to show you all how to send a message in Slack. So how the activities and demos are going to work is that I will be taking you through a demo of each activity. Then it'll be your turn to practice, and then we're going to go through it again. So don't fear if you miss anything. I will be with you every step of the way. So everyone, take a deep breath. We are heading into our first activity, how to send a direct message in Slack. So now you can see I'm in our trusty demo workspace right here. Again, this might not look exactly like what you're seeing on the screen, but I will walk you through each step. So I want to send Lauren a message. I want to ask if she wants to grab lunch today. And because this isn't related to a specific project, I'm not going to post it in a public channel. I'm going to send her a direct message. Now, like a lot of things in Slack, there are multiple ways I can accomplish this. I'm going to show you my favorite and then a bonus one, because I feel like you guys are all ready to see other options. But the easiest way is to click into the DMs icon here on the left-hand side. I'm going to navigate to the search bar here. I'm going to type in Lauren's name, select enter. You can see it's already open. She's the only person that I like to DM. And I'm going to ask her again, let's do lunch. Do lunch again today. And I hope she responds, because that would be very awkward if she didn't. But all I did was type that message into the message bar, hit enter, and I have successfully sent her a direct message. So I'm going to call out is that direct messages are completely private. Nobody else will be able to join them or view them other than Lauren and I. Another way that you can start a DM, or yes, Lauren, I am always down for tacos. Another way you can start a DM or a group DM is to click on the plus sign here. This is where you're going to go to create channels, new direct messages. More on that in a little bit. But just if you click into create new, you can select message and start typing in somebody's name right there, and the rest will flow exactly the same. All right. I hope you're all paying attention. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and it is your turn to head on over to your own Slack workspace to practice. And so you might even be asking, Christina, is it even possible to send yourself a message in Slack? And yes, not only is it possible to DM yourself, but there are quite a few great use cases for your DM with yourself. It's a really great space to create to-do lists, to take notes, or my absolute favorite, to draft messages before sending them. And remember, messages that you send to yourself can be viewed by you and only you. All right, so what we're gonna do is open up your Slack, click on the DMs icon, click on the compose button, or type your name into the search field, and write a message to yourself and send it. I have a feeling, I know this is a little warm up, okay? So I have a feeling you guys are all crushing this. I think we're ready to move on to activity number 2. If you do have any questions, please do ask them in channel. But otherwise, activity number 2, how to find and join a channel in Slack. This is a little bit more complex. I'm going to show you a demo, and then I'm going to take you through this again one more time. So we've hopped back into our trusty demo workspace right here. And I want everyone to take a moment and put your imagination hats on. I just got brought into a project called Project Echo. And before I go and start creating a channel for this or anything like that, I'm going to do a quick search to see if this channel already exists. Again, we always encourage a search first mentality when working in Slack. Slack is actually a backronym for searchable log of all communication and knowledge, meaning that it really does house the collective knowledge of your organization and your team. So more often than not, you're going to find what you're looking for in Slack, which is the true beauty of Slack. So to search for something to do with Project Echo, what I'm going to do is navigate to the search bar at the top here, type in Echo. And I can see there are a few different channels that look a little bit interesting. I'm going to click into Project Echo team because I will be joining the Project Echo team, and I just have a hunch that this is the right channel that I need to be in. And you can see right here that it says not a member, which means I am not already a member of this channel. So I'm going to click into that channel. And what's really great about Slack is I can actually browse through the channel before I join it. I'm going to take a quick look. And yes, this is the channel I need to be in. All I need to do is click join channel, and just like that, I am in the channel. Now that I'm in there, I need to add Lauren in as well because we will be working on Project Echo together. And it's very simple to add someone to a channel. Simply navigate to the upper right where you can see some profile pictures. And pro tip, if you haven't uploaded a profile picture yet, please go ahead and do that. We want to see your beautiful face. But click into view all members of this channel. And then I'm going to start typing in Lauren's name here into the search bar. You can see there's kind of a common theme here. If you're looking for something in Slack, you type it into the search bar. And then there's Lauren right there. I can see she's not already in the channel. I'm going to select add, X out of there. And just like that, Lauren has been added to the channel and I can start collaborating with her right away. All right, so that was a little bit more complex than the first one, but I have a feeling you're all pros out there. So now it's your turn to try this out. Head on over to your own Slack workspace. Click into the search bar. Now, of course, we don't know what channels are in your Slack workspace, so I'm going to suggest searching for some of the most common channels we see our customers use. So start typing in something like general or announcements or social or even proj into the search bar to start looking up some channels. Now select a channel that you want to view. And if you are added, you will pop into that channel, but if not, click on join channel to join that channel. So as I mentioned, a lot of the times in Slack, there are more than one ways you can do something. And there are actually two ways you can find channels. So if for whatever reason you were trying to browse through your channels and you weren't able to find one to join, I'm going to show you an alternative right now, which is to browse channels through the channel browser. So hopping back into our demo workspace, the channel browser is a super handy view to view all of the public channels that are available for you to join in your Slack workspace. So to access the channel browser, super easy. Click into more or hover over more and navigate down to your workspace name, which is right here. So just a friendly reminder, this is going to look different for you. Your workspace name is what is listed right here at the upper left-hand corner. So again, click into more, hover over your workspace and select channels to browse your team's channels. Again, these are all the public channels that are available for you to join. They're denoted by the hashtag. And what's really cool about this view is that you can actually go through and see all of the public channels in your Slack workspace. If you are already in one of the channels, you're going to see the little green joined icon here. And if there is a channel that you're interested in that you're not a member of, simply hover over, select join, click into the channel name, and just like that, you have been added to that channel. All right, I'm gonna give everyone a few more minutes to complete that. Lauren, we have some pretty cool social channels here at Slack. Which is one of your favorite ones?
We have so many incredible channels over here at Slack. You're so right, Christina. I think my favorite one, you can probably guess this already, but we have this fantastic Star Wars channel where everyone goes in whenever a new movie comes out or a new episode of one of the shows, and they start a new thread discussing theories, thoughts, positive, constructive feedback, all sorts of hot takes in that thread happens. So that's my favorite. It brings me so much joy. What about you, Christina?
Well, you'll be proud to know that I am now a converted Star Wars fan. I grew up on Star Trek, but since we've been working on this workshop together, you've really gotten me into Star Wars. And so I recently joined that channel a couple weeks ago. I've been loving it. Breezed my way through every single episode of The Mandalorian, and now I'm going back and watching all of the movies. So I just finished episode 5. And it's so much fun to go back and experience them for the first time. But thank you. I love the Star Wars channel now as well.
Oh my gosh, I will never accomplish anything greater, Christina. This is it. Check mark. Yes. Amazing.
I'm honored to be a part of that. So, all right. Well, I think we've all figured out activity number 2. And if not, that's okay. Our team is here to help. But a few key takeaways before moving on is that, again, there are 2 main ways to collaborate in channels and direct message. When in doubt, put it in a channel, as working with your team happens in channels most often. You have the autonomy to browse and join channels, to stay in the loop, and leave when they are no longer relevant to you. Again, channels are meant to facilitate fluid communication. And then a final reminder that at the end of this training, you're going to be able to download a PDF handout that contains all of these key takeaways so that you can refer back and relive the magic of this workshop whenever you like. All right, Lauren, back over to you.
Amazing. That was so much fun. I'm so proud of everyone. I feel like everyone is just crushing it. I sense it. I feel it, like the force. Okay, so now that we've covered some of the basics, like how to navigate your Slack interface and how to find and start those conversations, let's up the ante and take things to the next level and cover some of our favorite tips and tricks to accelerate your team's productivity in Slack. So Christina and I are going to cover the top 3 ways to increase your productivity in Slack. We have @mentions, emoji reactions, and drum roll, threads. Woo! We've come to the moment. So these are all super simple and effective methods and things that you and your team can start to apply today. So let's dive into why these are important concepts. First, we're going to look at the all-powerful @mention feature. So in Slack, we use @mentions when we are referring to someone. So let's say you @mention me. Depending on where you're talking in Slack, this @mention can serve a different purpose, and it can either help assist you when you're trying to reference someone in particular in a DM with your coworker, or like in this example here with our friend Lisa Dawson, it can actually notify someone that they've been mentioned inside of a channel. So Christina will touch on this in her demo later on. Our next productivity tip is to use reactions. So here at Slack, emojis are so much more than just a fun way to react to your team's posts, although we still love that method too. Emoji reactions can also be used in a professional capacity to quickly relay a message like, hey, I'm currently reviewing that, so that your coworkers aren't left wondering if you've seen their message yet or not. Or you can use a green check mark to say, hey, this project is done, team. So this is really the power of emojis in action. These can be used to quickly respond to a message, update the status of a request, vote as a team, and of course, express your support and sentiment for something. And at Slack, 2 of our most frequently used emojis are these little suspicious looking eyeballs looking off to the left here, and that green check mark that you saw earlier. And that indicates that a task has been complete. And this is all without sending any notifications. So of course, this works best when you have defined an emoji dictionary with your team or your company so that everyone is speaking the same emoji language. So here you can see on screen is some examples of emojis that we actually use here at Slack. So we use those suspicious looking eyeballs to say, hey, I'm looking into this, a heavy check mark or that green check mark to say I've taken care of this. We use the bow symbol to indicate gratitude, heavy plus sign to say that we agree with something, and the gentle point up symbol to say, hey, like this has actually been posted earlier in the channel. Take a peek and scroll up. Last productivity tip is one of my favorites. We are here at the moment. Let's talk about threads. So threads keep channels organized. They help take your channels from never ending back and forth to a place where work can actually get done. So from any message, you can start a thread to say, ask a follow-up question, add additional context to someone's message, or give feedback, and that's all without disrupting a conversations and channels flow. So not threading is kind of akin to changing the subject line to someone's email that you're trying to reply to. We all know that's confusing and a little bit of a no-no. So a thread will also remain connected to that original message, and only those who have actually contributed or have followed the thread, and you can do that by simply dropping an emoji reaction on a post, only those 2 scenarios will actually be notified of any new replies to that thread. So super easy to start a thread. All you do is hover over that original message, click on that little text bubble symbol that you see here on the screen, and that thread window will pop out into that flex pane on the far right-hand side, and that's where you can add your response. And if you want to get back to all of those incredible conversations that you're participating in or that you're following by, again, leaving that emoji on a message, you can just simply navigate over to the activity view and open up the threads section to find all of your threads. Easy breezy. This is where they will all be housed. And with that, Christina, I feel like this is going to be such a fun section. Take it away.
I'm a little nervous. I don't want to let you down. This is your favorite section. So I'm going to do my best. Everyone, we are on to activity number 3 already. For those of you that this is helpful, there are 4 activities total. So we are chugging along. So this activity will be to give a quick reaction with an emoji and to reply in thread. As usual, I'll give you a quick demo and then it's over to you to practice. So hopping back in to the demo workspace. There we go. Let's put our imagination hats back on. So I'm working away in the project channel and I can see that Lauren has @mentioned me here. It's highlighted in yellow. I need to respond to her. She's asked me to review the agenda for today's meeting. I'm actually about to hop into another meeting, so I can't respond right away, but I do want to let her know that I've seen the message and I will reply when I can. To do this, I'm going to throw an eyes emoji reaction on it, and it's very easy to do. I'm going to hover over the message and you can see here by default the eyes are there, and I'm just going to click on the eyes emoji reaction to let Lauren know I've seen her message. Just to quickly call out, you could actually select whichever emoji you would like based on, again, your company's emoji dictionary if you have one. To do that, just click on find another reaction and you have the whole menu of emojis to select from. But because we know that the eyes emoji means I'm looking at it and I'll be back, I threw that onto the message. All right, so I'm in my meeting and I've wrapped up and I'm actually ready to get back to Lauren's message. Instead of needing to remember exactly where that was, because I have a terrible memory, all I need to do is to click into the activities icon on the left-hand side here, and I can see right at the top is where Lauren messaged me. So I'm going to click back into that message. Oh, this is so great. It's like a little time machine, and I can see Lauren's message right here. Oh, sorry about that. Accidentally clicked out of it. I can see Lauren's message right here. So now I'm ready to reply to her. And I'm going to do this in, you guessed it, a thread. So I'm going to hover over the message, select reply in thread, and I'm going to say, this looks great. Something to call out, as you can see, when I selected to reply in thread, it actually opened up the flex pane here, which allowed me to type in my message, and I'm going to select enter. A common pitfall that we see is that people actually just reply to the message, not in thread and in the main message bar. One thing that you're going to want to check is to make sure that you see this view here, one reply, and that will ensure that you have replied in thread. And then you can do a quick sanity check here by Xing out of this, and you can see that in the one message view, you have the message that I mentioned, the emoji reaction, and the 2 replies. Click into that, and you can see the beautiful threads all in one view. And because now this is now complete, I'm just going to throw a quick green check mark on it. To do that, I'm going to select add reaction, select the green check mark. And again, this just lets everyone in the channel know that this request has been responded to, and it keeps everything nice and neat in one message. All right. That was me done. It is now your turn to practice. I hope you're all paying attention, and if not, I'm here to walk you through it every step of the way. In the demo, I was actually showing you a real scenario in a public channel in Slack. Since we're practicing in your Slack and your company's Slack workspace, let's try not to disrupt conversations in channels. So let's pull up the DM with yourself again. That's what we did in the previous activity. And as we said in the previous section, the DM with yourself is a really great spot to practice your Slack skills or to draft up messages before sending them. So pull up the DM with yourself and think about a question to ask yourself. Send it to yourself and answer yourself. A little bit of Slackception right here. So ask yourself that question, react to the eyes emoji, reply to your own question in thread, and then put a green check mark on that when you are done. All right, because this is a little bit more complicated, I'm going to show you a demo one more time and actually call out a few additional tidbits while we're working through this. All right, back into the demo org. I want to touch on what Lauren mentioned earlier about how at mentions work. So I'm actually going to pull up a DM with myself. Again, to do that, I'm going to click on DMs, put in my own name here, and I have pulled up the DM with myself. So I want to ask Lauren, when is the campaign launching? And again, I'm drafting this up in my DM before I send it in a public channel. So as you can see here, I've typed in at Lauren Brock, when is the campaign launching? Oops, I made a typo. Get to that in a second. So I hit enter. I can see I've mentioned Lauren. Because this is in a DM with myself, she is not going to get a notification until I put it into a public channel. Once I do put it into a public channel, Lauren will get that notification to let her know something requires her attention, and then everyone else in the channel will also know which Lauren I'm referring to. So as you can see here, I made a typo, and what's beautiful about Slack is you can actually edit your messages. I know, for all you heavy email users out there, this is amazing. To edit this message, all I need to do is hover over it, click on More Actions, select Edit Message, and ta-da! I can actually fix my typo right there. No more embarrassment at all. So now I'm going to practice emoji reactions. And again, to do that, I'm going to hover over the message, throw the eyes emoji reaction on it, and I'm going to reply to myself as well, just to practice my threads. So I'm just going to say the campaign is launching the first week of Q3. Select enter, quick sanity check. I see the one reply there, which means I have successfully replied in thread, and I'm going to throw the green check mark on it. And if I exit out of the flex pane, I can see I have successfully emoji reacted, replied in thread, and mentioned Lauren. Whew, we are all done. And activity number 3. I'm going to give people a few seconds to wrap this up. Please follow the instructions on your screen. Lauren, I hope I did you justice. I hope I did threads justice here.
It was beautiful, Christina.
Oh, thank you. I tried my best. All right. I have a feeling people are pretty much done. And I'm going to summarize a few key takeaways before we move forward. First off, using @mentions to get someone's attention and to move work forward. @mentions, again, can serve a different purpose, and it can either help assist you in trying to reference someone in particular, or in a DM with yourself, or to grab someone's attention. Again, emoji reactions are a great way to give quick answers to someone or to a message, and to show the status of a request very quickly without having to add additional messages. So again, just keeps the channel nice and clean. And then finally, you can reply to the request in thread to keep conversations organized. Please remember to do that. If you use all 3, this will help you communicate more productively in Slack by keeping your conversations streamlined and organized. All right, Lauren, back over to you to take us home.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Christina. You did such a wonderful job in my threads. And also, y'all, using your DMs as drafts is such a pro tip. I do that literally every single day. Whenever I'm getting ready to write a big message to a customer, or maybe in one of my team channels, like always draft it up to myself first. That way you don't have any whoopsies before it happens. But you can always delete it if that sort of thing happens. It's the beauty of Slack, like what Christina said. Okay, so we are officially in the home stretch, y'all. So take a quick stretch break, do a few squats, like let's get the blood flowing and get ready, because now we are at the best part. So in our last section today, Christina and I are going to show you how you can start moving your projects into Slack channels to work in a simpler, more pleasant, and more productive way starting today. So a quick note, though, that this is your final call to submit any questions to our fabulous Q&A pod via the Q&A tool that you should hopefully see at the bottom of the webinar screen there. So get those last burning questions in and answered before we part ways. So friendly reminder, if for some reason you don't see that Q&A option within the webinar interface, don't worry. You can always submit questions anytime to slack.com/help, and our customer support team will get back to you by email. Okay, so we want to bring everything that we just touched on to life. So let's take a look at what it's like to work on a project, both with and without Slack. So first, let's look at collaboration without Slack. Some of the elements and pain points I'm going to walk you through might seem familiar to your day-to-day life. So here is a satellite view of a typical enterprise ecosystem. Often in our day-to-day working lives, we're jumping from email to Zooms to Workday, back over to email, and there are likely quite a few tools inside of your company's tech stack. We know that working with so many disconnected ecosystems, apps, and random chatter can be hard, and in fact, it can get pretty messy, right? So what does that mean though? Let's put it into context. So I'd love for you all to meet my friend Sarah. So let's say that Sarah is a project manager. So these are the people that she primarily works with on a day-to-day basis. And Sarah needs to send Matt some information about a project she's starting on. So she sends him over an email. And Matt, upon reading the email, realizes that he needs to forward it over to Harry because that information is relevant for him too. And the next day, Jagdeep hosts a weekly project meeting and learns anew about this information. So they start a Google Doc to collaborate and comment on some of the work. But you can see here that there's still some team members that are left out. And what this is doing is it's creating silos of information because there's emails flying around, work happening in G Suite, different meetings taking place. And there isn't one central location where these conversations and work are coming together. So each inbox, meeting, note, and file is entirely isolated and separate, and there's no way to search across it all. And let's say you bring someone new onto the project, like me. You're probably going to have to forward me a series of 10 different important emails, 6 different links to files, and likely have to host multiple onboarding calls to get me fully up to speed, right? So I'm sure this is something we can all relate to in our day-to-day working lives. So what would this look like if Slack was in the picture? Well, lucky for you, that is literally why we are all here today. So Slack helps people work together and collaborate easily. And this is what makes Slack the collaboration hub that makes workflow faster. So you might be thinking, this all sounds really fantastic, Lauren, but what are practical steps that I can actually do to start working this way? And have no fear, Christina and I are going to break this process of moving a project into a channel into 4 easy steps for you. So the first step, like always, is the easiest. At least I hope it is. So first, we need to create a channel. So we covered what channels are earlier in today's session, but a reminder that channels are where work is happening in Slack. So when you're approaching a long-term project, the best way to use Slack is to move that project into a channel so you can bring in all of the relevant people, information, and tools into a single place to speed up your work. So let's say you're new to a project, or maybe you just got back from a very well-deserved vacation. All you have to do is pop into that Slack channel and you'll get immediate access to the information that you need to be up to speed on for the latest and greatest for that project. So of course, every company will have nuances to how they approach their channel strategy, but a general rule of thumb is that you can start by creating 1 channel per project. And Christina will demo how to do this later. Okay, so now that we understand the purpose of a channel, step 2 in our Slack for Projects journey is making sure that you've added key project information. So let's say you're kicking off your project. Before you add in your team members, it's really important to add key information to help give context and ground people as to why are they being added to this channel in the first place. Think of it as you are putting down the welcome mat before welcoming people into your home. So you can do this in a few different ways. For example, you can add a quick project definition to that description portion that's available at the top of a channel. You can also share a welcome message with key project information. And lastly, be sure to pin or bookmark frequently needed files like project briefs and so on. This can all also be consolidated into a Slack canvas, which is one of the latest Slack features that lets your team create, organize, and share essential information for any channel or conversation in Slack. And in fact, each channel and direct message, or DM, now automatically includes a canvas that's just going to sit right alongside it. You can, of course, also create a standalone canvas if you need to for pretty much anything that you and your team are working on. So this is a really simple yet powerful way to keep track of information that's important to you, from team resources or links to FAQs and meeting notes. So hopefully we're excited. There's clearly so much that you can do with Slack Canvas. So of course you can learn more at the link that you see here on the slide. And this link will also be provided in that PDF handout that you can download at the end of today's presentation. But by completing all of these key info steps, from setting that channel description to filling out a channel or a project canvas, what you're doing is you're saving yourself time from having to repeat information and allowing others, even like your manager, to be up to date on a project, all without having to ask you. Okay, so step 3. Now that we have all of our key channel information outlined, we have now reached the exciting moment of adding your teammates and actually kicking off the project itself. So where to start? We recommend first adding the people who will be actively involved in the day-to-day of the project. So a little tip here, if you aren't quite sure where to start, go ahead and take a peek at who's been on your email threads to date. So these are the perfect people to begin with. You'll likely also want to add in your manager and any other important functional stakeholders who need visibility into the progress of this project. And don't worry too much if you miss someone. Channels are meant for fluid communication, meaning that people can join or leave as they need, and anything posted in a channel will always remain. So you're never losing anyone's information or work, even when someone leaves that channel. And if you're added to a project midway through, you can easily get up to date by simply reviewing the channel's content, scrolling up, taking a peek. This is the beauty and power of Slack. It's your team's one-stop shop for collaboration. And you can also add in external people like customers and vendors by making your channel a Slack Connect channel. And we're not going to cover how to make one today, but if you'd like to learn more, go ahead and check the link that you can see here on the slide. This link will also be provided in the PDF handout that you can download at the end of today's presentation. Okay, now we're getting to the good part, the last step. So we have our channel, we have our key project information, we have all of our teammates added. Let's dig into how Slack can help you work better together. So building on what we talked about in our earlier section about how you can accelerate productivity with your teammates, and we want to translate this to a real life example. So remember how we talked about app mentions earlier? So in the context of working in a channel on a project with Slack, it's best practice to always, always, always app mention someone when you're addressing them, because this tags them and it will actually send them a notification. So this can be used if you're asking for updates, replying to a question, assigning someone a task, or even if you just want to tag in your manager to make sure that they're reading the latest update. Next, we have those all-powerful emojis that we talked about earlier as well. So beyond what we talked about, another fun use for emojis is to run a quick survey in channel. So in this example, our dear friend Sarah is asking for her team to react with a specific emoji to indicate if they prefer version A or version B of the new website layout. So I'm sure your wheels are already turning, and you can imagine the multiple uses of this sort of voting system. You could ask for feedback on anything from copywriting samples to what should I get for lunch? The world is your oyster with this. And another efficient way to work with your team and put Slack to work for you is through a powerful no-code Slack tool called Workflows. Even I can do this, okay, y'all, and I am not a coder. So For example, you can create a workflow that standardizes request processes for a channel. Or you can send out a request to a channel for your teammates to share a weekly update and so much more. This is all with the goal of helping you automate your everyday tasks to help you get work done faster. So we won't dive into the details of how to create a no-code workflow in this session today, but I invite you to learn more at the link that you see here on the screen. And as always, this will be included in that PDF. So another final feature here is Slack Huddles. So these are great for asynchronous work. And of course, this could be used for reoccurring meetings like one-on-ones with your manager. But Huddles are also a fabulous way to recreate that kitchen run-in with a coworker or a quick sync at someone's desk, either before or after a meeting. So Huddles are such a good way to work in real time alongside your coworkers with video, multi-person screen sharing, and a dedicated thread that's attached to that huddle where you can capture any notes. And of course, we have ways to make the huddle even more fun with some really fun and playful emoji reactions. So you're able to start a huddle in any channel or direct message, including those with your external partners, by clicking on that headphones icon. So if you'd like to learn more, we have the link here on our screen, and this will also be in that PDF handout. Okay, Christina, we just covered so much. Bring it to life for us.
All right, I'm gonna do my best to bring this all together. Everyone, we are at our final activity. This is like the final boss level for those video gamers out there. But don't worry, again, I will take you through a demo and I will be here every step of the way. So let's get to it. Let's learn how to create a channel and add a teammate. Da, 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 da. Let's do this. All right. Sorry, I was bound to break out into song at some point during this session. I've held it in until now. But let's put on our imagination hats one more time. And very exciting news, I'm starting a new project called Project Rainbow. Before I jump in and create a channel, I already did a quick search and couldn't find an existing channel. Again, search first mentality. So I'm gonna actually create a new channel. To do this, I'm going to navigate down to, you guessed it, the plus icon here under Create New, and I'm going to select Channel. All right, this is where I can put in a channel name. If you click in, you can see some helpful channel prefixes. So I'm actually going to put in Proj Rainbow for this channel. And then I'm going to click Next. And this is where I can toggle whether or not I want this channel to be public or private. Again, because it's nothing confidential, I'm going to default to a public channel so anyone in my Slack workspace can find and join and access the information in there as well. So I'm going to click on Create. And I'm not quite ready to add folks yet because I want to make sure my channel is set up very clearly before I add anyone in. So I'm going to select Skip for now. And this is my blank channel. So first thing that I would recommend that you do is to actually go in and add a channel topic to make it really clear what this channel is for. And to do that, I'm going to click into the channel name. And here is where I can add a topic. So I'm just going to add in, let's launch the new website and select Save. And I can see that the channel topic is updated here, but when I exit out of this view, it's also right next to the channel name and also in the channel, just to make it really clear what this channel is for. So now I'm going to post a welcome or intro message into the channel so folks have a little bit of context when they join. It's never fun joining a completely blank channel and you don't know what's going on in there. So I'm going to add in my welcome message and select Enter. I can see that I've referenced a project timeline attached, but I actually forgot to link that. And so I'm going to show you one of my favorite features in Slack, which is actually the ability to hyperlink things. So again, you can edit your messages in Slack, as I mentioned earlier. To do that, hover over the message, click on More Actions, and select Edit Message. And this is where I can go in and edit this to hyperlink something. I'm just going to highlight the words I want to hyperlink, select on the link icon here, and copy and paste the link I would like to include, and then simply press Save. And just like that, I have hyperlinked a message in Slack, and you can see the beautiful project timeline actually unfurls as well, and I can view it before I click into it right in the channel. All right, so this is a really important message for the channel, and I want everyone to be able to find and access it easily, even as new messages come in. So what I'm going to do is actually pin this to the channel. To do this, I'm going to hover over the message, click on more actions, and select pin to channel. And just like that, it's underneath the pinned items under the channel name. A really good best practice is to actually go in and check the pinned items of a channel when you join it, so you can really see what's going on in that channel. You can pin things like frequently asked questions or rules of engagement for the channel as well. And finally, I want to make sure that the channel canvas is updated. So I'm going to click into the canvas icon here, and I'm going to select blank page, but there are a bunch of different things that you can select to get started. And what I'm actually going to do is to include a quick project brief into the canvas, just so everyone is able to access this information very easily. So as you can see, I click into the canvas and it is right there. One final thing to call out is you can actually add bookmarks as well to reference important Google Docs, websites, or other links. All right, so now that this is all set up, I'm ready to add Lauren in. Upper right-hand corner, click on the profile picture, type in Lauren's name, select add, and just like that, oops, did something wrong there. Select Lauren's name and select add, and there we go. Just like that, she's been added to the channel. All right, it is now your turn to practice. This is the final thing, the final activity. Go into your Slack and create a new channel by clicking on the plus icon and then to channel. Select a workspace. So you might see an option to do this. Skip this step if your company only has one workspace, but otherwise select the workspace you're currently working in. Give the channel a name starting with Project Dash. And for this purpose, because we don't want to cause any distractions in your actual workspace, let's go ahead and create a private channel. So toggle that, select private, create your channels. Feel free to go in and add a welcome message, but also add in some of your colleagues, maybe your work bestie if you want, to start practicing collaborating in that channel. Now, because I introduced a few new concepts, I'm just going to quickly show this to you one more time, really hammering this message home. I'm going to hop back into my demo instance for the last time. And you can see here again, to create a channel, click on Create New, navigate to Channel, give your channel a name, Project, Cloud. Not very imaginative today, but to create a private one, again, select private. And again, that will ensure that only those people that you add to the channel will be able to access the contents of that channel. All right, that brings us to the end of the activities. I'm just going to quickly recap a few of the things that we talked about. Create a channel for each of your projects using the prefix proj dash and then the name of your project. Add key information to your channel so people know what the channel is for. When you are done, add teammates to your channel, whether they're inside or outside of your company, so you can start collaborating with them right away. And again, moving projects into channels allows you to keep all of the work that you're doing on that project in one place, right where the people and information are. Lauren, over to you to wrap up.
Oh my gosh. Y'all, I'm getting emotional. The workshop is now over. Can you believe it? Thank you so much, genuinely, everyone, for your attention and participation. We hope you enjoyed today's workshop and found it valuable. We would love to leave you with 3 next steps on how you can continue your education journey over here with Slack. So number 1, be sure to download that PDF handout to get a summary of today's training. Number 2, invite your colleagues, spread the word. If you enjoyed today's session, we would love to host some of your coworkers and share some of this knowledge as well with them. And number 3, keep learning, right? We have so many incredible resources inside of our Slack resources library. So for those of you who want to start taking things to the next level, be sure to check that out. And one final thing, if you have any other burning questions, you can ask for help by logging a ticket to slack.com/help. And we would love, love, love for you to answer a quick 1-minute survey that should be popping up on your screen right now to let us know what you thought of today's session. Your opinion really matters to us and will help us improve our programs. So thank you so much, everyone. And with that, goodbye.
Goodbye. Congratulations. You're done. Thank you.
Thank you all.